You have heard many times that the higher vibration is better than lower vibration, and it's true. But what you may not have heard is that high vibration hurts too. High frequency hurts just as much, if not more, than low frequency. And this is a side effect of awakening that people don't really talk about very often. The higher your vibration gets, the more sensitive you become to everything in your environment. Think about when you were a small child and everything felt very intense. Everything was new. Everything made you happy. You cried when you were sad. You laughed when you were happy. Everything was very intense. Well, being at high vibration is kind of like being a small child all over again. So everything that happens around you affects you much more deeply than it would someone who is not at high vibration. This means that everything that is negative also affects you much more. Fear, anxiety, stress, sadness, anger, grief, these are all lower frequencies. And if you are operating at a higher frequency, you will feel those things much more intensely. Think about how you feel when you are around people who are angry or depressed. Maybe you feel their emotions so strongly that you start crying, or you feel like you want to pull away and get away from them because you feel uncomfortable. That is an example of high-frequency hurting, and this can be experienced on a much deeper level. When you go within and you start doing shadow work, you start activating all these different parts of yourself that have been dormant for a long time. This activation can cause pain, discomfort, and even trauma. For example, when I started doing holotropic breathwork, I started feeling all sorts of pain and discomfort that I had never felt before. It was like my body and my mind were in a lot of pain, and I had to lie down after the session for hours and hours until I could recover. Why? Because when you start going deep within and you start activating all these different parts of you, especially the ones that have been suppressed for a long time, they all want to come out and be acknowledged. These parts of us hold traumas and pains and wounds that we may have experienced in our past lives or in this current life. When they start coming up, it can be very overwhelming and it can hurt a lot. When you are doing inner work, you may experience all sorts of symptoms like anxiety, depression, mood swings, panic attacks, dissociation, paranoia, fatigue, memory loss, lack of focus, crying spells, hypersensitivity, nightmares, and even physical pain. Those who are doing inner work or who are at higher vibrations are affected much more by external factors and internal chaos. If there is a war going on outside, you will feel that much more. If your inner world is chaotic, you will feel that much more as well. Being at high vibration is a blessing and a curse. We all want to be at high vibration, but we don't want the downsides that come with it. We don't want to feel pain, discomfort, or distress. And while it is possible to get to higher levels of consciousness without experiencing pain, it is not possible to maintain those higher levels without experiencing pain. Pain is inevitable. Pain is necessary. Pain is what transforms us and allows us to grow. Pain is what makes us who we are. Think about a caterpillar. A caterpillar has to be in pain in order to transform into a butterfly. Its skin has to be stretched and torn in order for it to grow wings. Pain is part of the process. And the same is true for us. We have to be in pain in order to grow and evolve. We have to be willing to feel the pain of transformation in order to reach our highest potential. While we are here on this Earth School, we are learning and growing. And with growth comes pain. Pain is simply the price we pay for growth. Now, this doesn't mean that we have to embrace every single pain or every single negative emotion that comes our way. In fact, I don't recommend that. There is a difference between embracing pain and being in pain. Embracing pain means that you allow yourself to feel the pain, but you don't let the pain define you. Being in pain, on the other hand, means that you let the pain control you. You let it dictate your actions and your thoughts. You let it define who you are. So yes, pain is necessary for growth, but that doesn't mean we have to suffer. We can choose to embrace the pain and allow it to transform us, or we can choose to be in the pain and let it control us. The choice is ours. We always have a choice. Here are a few ways to deal with pain when you are at high vibration. First, accept that pain is part of the process. If you resist the pain or try to avoid it, it will only make things worse. The second step is to find healthy ways to express your pain. Don't bottle it up inside. Instead, find ways to let it out. Talk to someone you trust. Write in a journal, paint, dance, whatever you need to do to express your pain in a healthy way. Third, practice self-care. This is so important. When you are in pain, it's easy to neglect yourself. You might not want to eat healthy or exercise or take care of your appearance. But taking care of yourself is even more important when you are in pain. Make sure to get enough rest, eat nourishing foods, and do gentle exercise. This will help you cope with the pain, and it will help you heal. Fourth, connect with others. Don't isolate yourself when you are in pain. Reach out to your friends and family. Let them know what you're going through and ask for their support. And finally, believe that you are worthy of love and happiness. This is a powerful one. When we are in pain, it's easy to forget that we are worthy of love and happiness. We might start to believe that the pain is a punishment, that we don't deserve love and happiness. But this is not true. You are worthy of all the love and happiness in the world. Never forget that. Many people think that once they reach a certain level of spiritual awakening, they should not feel any pain or negative emotions anymore. That is not true. You can still feel negative emotions even after you have reached enlightenment. In fact, it is impossible to avoid negative emotions entirely. The only way to stop feeling negative emotions is to stop feeling altogether, and that is not what we want. We want to feel everything. We want to feel the full range of human emotions. When we try to avoid negative emotions, we are only suppressing them. And when we suppress negative emotions, we also suppress positive emotions. Negative emotions have a purpose. They serve a function. They teach us lessons. They show us where we need to grow. We can learn and evolve. When we try to avoid or suppress negative emotions, we are avoiding and suppressing the lessons that they have to teach us. We are blocking our own growth. If you are struggling with negative emotions, know that you are not alone. Everyone struggles with negative emotions. Even enlightened beings struggle with negative emotions. The difference is that enlightened beings do not try to avoid or suppress negative emotions. They embrace them. They allow themselves to feel the negative emotion completely. They sit with it and they explore it, and in doing so, they transform it into something positive. So, what do you do when you are at high vibration and you are feeling negative emotions? Here are a few tips. The first thing you can do is to acknowledge the emotion. Don't try to push it away or ignore it. Allow yourself to feel it fully. Once you have acknowledged the emotion, you can start to explore it. Ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling and why am I feeling it? What does this emotion teach me? How can I grow from this experience? By exploring the emotion, you will start to understand it. And when you understand it, you can start to transform it. As you continue to explore the emotion, you may start to notice things about yourself that need to be healed. These could be old wounds or traumas that are coming up to be healed. If you notice that there are things that need to be healed, then start the process of healing. This could involve doing inner work, such as shadow work or breath work, or it could involve seeking professional help. As you heal and grow, the negative emotion will start to transform into a positive emotion. For example, fear can transform into courage, anger can transform into passion, and sadness can transform into compassion. Keep in mind that this process takes time. Be patient with yourself and don't expect to transform negative emotions into positive emotions overnight. Being at high vibration is a blessing and a curse. While it is true that high vibration is good, it is also true that it hurts. But the pain is necessary. It is part of the process of growth and evolution. So do not try to avoid or suppress pain. Embrace it. Allow it to transform you. Believe that you are worthy of love and happiness, and never, ever give up on yourself.